What's up, nerds? Today is round 2 of my sealed event from my locals Friday night. I won the die roll, unfortunately, so I'm forced to go first. I start by hatching my best Digitama, my Demi-Miramon, and Digivolving into a Vanilla Patamon. And then Digivolving into Lobomon for 2. And my opponent starts by hatching and then Digivolving into his Vanilla Rookie. So this was actually the first tournament I've ever seen this person at, but he actually played very well for someone who potentially could have been his first tournament. So he Digivolves into a Champion and then Digivolves into an Ultimate. I go ahead and raise. There's not too much to be afraid of. I mean, he could potentially drop like a victory on me or something, but those are going to be few and far between since we only opened one box of BT4. So I have not drawn a Mega yet, unfortunately, so I'm contemplating if I want to invest cards into an Ultimate that he could potentially just pop. So I play a 3-cost Champion, and then play another 3-cost Champion. That way, like, if he does pop my Champion that I already have out, I'm not really, like, losing out on too much. So I am playing around victory or some kind of form of removal, if he has it, by not investing into an Ultimate just yet. And he Digivolves into a Spinamon, which is a 10,000 DP 2-cost Mega, but it does get 3,000 DP on your turn. So right now it's at 13,000 DP. So he swings in my security and unfortunately runs over a 10,000 DP Mega. Sad days. He would have died to that if he didn't gain that DP from his effect. Then he plays a 5,000 2-cost Rookie to choke me to 1. Pretty good. Definitely a good play. It really limits what I can do on my turn since I just have champions on my field. So I go ahead and hatch and then Digivolve. And still have not drawn a Mega. At this point, with me not drawing a Mega, I actually should have just went all in on Rookie rushing him and just started playing bodies and swinging in. I should have swung out with all 3 of my guys and then hard played a Rookie. Because if I rely on trying to draw into a Mega, like, I'm way too far behind at this point. Unless he, for some reason, gives me a bunch of memory on his turn, it's going to be pretty hard for me to come back, and that's even I even draw a Mega. But he seems to understand the concept of choking, which is definitely not good for me. And here he Digivolves into Reflegiamon for 1, and Reflegiamon's a really big problem. Because she can Digiburst 2 to give all the Digimon on his side of the field 3,000 DP for the turn. And whenever a Digimon activates Digiburst while she's on the field, on his side of the field, he gets to target one of my Digimon and they can't attack or block until the end of my next turn. And that's a really big problem because that means if he continues to choke me, even if I put a Mega on the field, I can't run him over for another turn after I put it on the field. Which, me being at 4 security already, like, this is a very bad spot. And so he picks my Lobomon to keep it from attacking. So I've never played against, like, an actual, like, built Reflegiamon control deck. However, I can see how strong it is, just based off my interaction with this one Reflegiamon in this sealed event. So he sings twice. Unfortunately, his Rookie does survive the check, which is even worse for me. And then he plays a Taikamiya for 3, which does give me hope. If I do draw a Mega for turn that's cheap enough, I can run over the Reflegiamon since he didn't target my Ultimate, which was a mistake. I don't think he realized it was an Ultimate when he was looking at my field, and he just picked the biggest stack to keep from attacking. But sadly, I did not see a Mega for turn, so now I'm just thinking about what I should do. And at this point, like I said, I should be just swinging out with my guys. I'm way too far behind to try to hope to build up into a Mega to attack him if I haven't drawn one for turn. I Digivolve into Devimon. This lets me pop his Ojamamon without actually suspending my guys. But suspending my guys by swinging into his stuff actually wouldn't be a bad thing because it would probably keep him from attacking into my security because he would run over my guys. So it probably would prolong the game for me. So I did draw a Victory Greymon off the Devimon Digivolve, which kind of sucks. I definitely would have played that and popped his Ojamamon and choked him to 1 if I had drawn that for turn as opposed to off the Digivolve. But like I said, I'm so far behind at this point. Like, he can still Digiburst again on his turn with a Fleegiamon, and if I do drop the Mega, he can just target that to keep it from attacking, and then I just lose on the next turn. I do have a blocker, so like, depending on what he does on his turn, if he doesn't play like another body, I might be able to prolong the game a little bit, but definitely not in a good spot, despite how wide my board is. So I Digivolve into another 2-cost Ultimate, just to choke him to 1, try to limit what he can do on his turn. But we are definitely in a bad spot here. I'm hoping he just gives me enough memory to where I can Digivolve and swing. But based on the way he's playing, I don't think I'm going to get that. Because he's so far ahead that he has no reason to just hand me a bunch of memory. So he Digibursts again, gives all of his guys 3000 DP. And then hits my Warumonzimon to keep him from attacking and blocking until the end of my next turn. Swings and hits a Fugamon, and then swings with the Rookie. The Rookie is 7,000 at this point, so he does swing over the Falcomon and live. Definitely not awesome. And then he Digivolves into a Champion for 2 to choke me to 1, which does let me run it over. So it lets me clear his board a little bit. And I do have 1 blocker in my hand, so I can definitely prolong the game at least 1 more turn. And at this point, like, I, without question, need to just swing out. But this game's pretty much over. I really can't do anything. Him continually choking me, and also just me not seeing Megas early enough to counter his Mega. Definitely cost me. And I did not realize early enough that I should have just been Rookie rushing him. So I swing over his guy for 5,000. Just to clear a body. And I should just be swinging out. At this point, I don't know what I'm doing by not swinging out. So I Digivolve into my 1-cost champion. At this point, I'm just hoping he messes up. Like, that's pretty much all I can do. And then I have to hard play my Shademon and give him 6 memories since I don't have a Rookie on the field to Digivolve it on top of. He hatches and Digivolves. So I find out on my next turn that it didn't matter if I swung out or not here. It actually would have just ended the game sooner. You guys will see what I'm talking about in a moment. So he Digivolves into Saberdramon for 2. Digivolves into Aravigemon for 3 to go to 1. And then he swings for game. I obviously have to block. And then he Digivolves into another 2-cost Mega to choke me to 1. So right here it's game. The only thing I can possibly hope for is, because I have 5 bodies and he has 5 security, is one of his security cards forcing him to go -1 security. I don't even think there's any cards in the format that do that. Like Yellow TK would be an example of one, but that's not in this format. That's in 1.0, and this is a 1.5 BT4 and BT5 sealed format. I check a Mega and definitely don't survive. Demi-Miramon effect triggers, draw 1, trash 1. I just trash the Gaussmon. I swing with my 3000 champion. It dies to 4000. And that's a security Digimon, so it just gets to summon itself to his field, so if I had swung out last turn, I just would have lost on his turn. His security is stacked. It's just a bunch of megas for the most part. I do hit a Takumi. Yeah. And after I swing out and see that I don't get an extra swing, like I just scoop. So he takes game 1. That was my own fault. I should have realized what was happening based on his board and what was in my hand, and I should have just committed to rookie rushing, but realized that just a turn or two too late. But don't forget, guys, we are doing a giveaway for a box of 1.0. That giveaway is in the description. The link for it is anyway. And also, we have started a Discord community. Check that out as well, and that is in the description. So I choose to go second. Obviously, I'm always going to choose to go second here. Get that extra card and that extra memory. And I do open a Mega this game, nice. One of my best ones, Mastamon, and Argomon, very nice. And Shademon, always nice to have a blocker. He hatches and actually bricks and doesn't draw a rookie, so he's forced to just play the Taikamiya to put me to 3, which is pretty nice. Puts me pretty far ahead in this game because it's going to take an extra turn for him to get a body on the field to where he can swing. So that's pretty impactful in a format like this. I will play my 3-cost champion and then Digivolve into an ultimate to put him to 2. So now I have a level 5 on the field and he only has 2 memory, and he still hasn't even put a body on the field. So I'm very far ahead here. And I do see he has a Hell's Gate in his hand, which is pretty good. So he plays a Saberjamon. I'm curious if he did that, so like if I played my Mega, he would be able to play the Hell's Gate in his hand. Pretty good play. And he has a purple level 5 in his hand as well, so like that play is going to be live for at least 2 turns. But I don't want to commit to a Mega just yet, because I don't really have a reason to. I could have dropped the Argomon and swung at him for 3 checks, but it seemed kind of early to commit to that. And I don't want to drop the Mastamon without being able to get an extra body from the trash if I can help it. So until that Armadillomon makes its way into my trash, I'm going to try not to drop Mastamon early. So he Digivolves into Cerberusmon. So the Hell's Gate play is still live. And I'm not playing around that card. This is just a coincidence from how I'm playing, just based on my hand and the board. I just don't want to commit to a Mega, just because I don't have to. I'm just making my board wider and wider. So he swings security for 6,000, does live. And unfortunately, if I do run that thing over, it does have retaliation, so it is going to kill whatever I run it over with. I would have preferred to just die to security, but unfortunately I probably am going to have to run it over. He plays Takumi for 2 and chokes me to 1. So during this game, I actually forgot that Takumi gives rookies... when attacking, lose 1 memory. I have not played enough decks with that card in it to where like it's ingrained in my mind that's what's gonna happen. I really need to like remember that and like drill it into my head, but and my opponent also forgot about it as well, or he would have been able to remind me, but we both forgot about it this game. It doesn't end up like impacting anything to where like the turn would have passed prematurely. It just affects like 1 or 2 memory here and there during this game. So I swing over it. My ultimate does die, and then he activates Cerberusmon's effect to draw 2 trash ones. Pretty good. Lets him unbrick a little bit. Then I Digivolve into Shademon to choke him to 1. Pretty funny that he has Hell's Gate in his hand like the whole time, and I just like never put a Mega on the field that he can use it with or use it on. Then he plays Agumon for 3. Reveals the top 3 cards and adds a Greymon and an Omnimon. He does actually hit a Greymon, which is pretty wild, since I'm sure that's like probably the only Greymon in his deck. He actually opened... he pulled pretty well, just based on the cards I've seen in his deck. Lots of 2-cost Megas. He has at least 2 security Digimon. Takumi is one of the only tamers I would want to put in my deck. But I do get to pop his Rookie, which is pretty nice. Digivolve into my Devimon. Digiburst 2, pop the Rookie, and then Galmon's effect adds it back to my hand and when it's Digibursted. Pretty nice. Then I Digivolve into my Pitomon to choke him to 1. So I'm pretty far ahead in this game, unless he can play something that pops my whole board. Digivolves into his Greymon. Very cool. Draws 2 cards from the Digivolve and the Takumi. So I go ahead and promote. And I do have Victory Greymon in my hand. And I do have an ultimate in my hand. What I'd like to set up is I gave him enough memory to where he digivolves into an ultimate and it passes the turn back to me, and then I can digivolve into my Victory Greymon and pop his ultimate, since almost every ultimate in this format is going to be deletable by Victory Greymon's effect. I'm actually showing the Victory Greymon to the camera, just very subtly. That's why I'm holding it like that. Because that's my plan right here. Like, I want him to digivolve into an ultimate just so I can just get it off the board. At that point, it's like GG's. Like, once I pop the ultimate that he's invested cards into, with my board as wide as it is, it's over. And he does exactly what I wanted him to do. Digivolves into an ultimate, and it passes the turn to me. He does get to draw an extra card with the Takumi, but it doesn't matter. So I go ahead and just don't waste time. Just drop Victory, give him 3 memory, and Digiburst 2, and delete an 8000 DP or lower Digimon on his side of the field. All according to plan. So he promotes. There's not really a lot he can do here. I just put him so far behind that I don't really see a way for him to come back unless he, I mean, he could Hell's Gate my Victory Greymon if he puts a purple card on the field, but he'd be giving me like a bunch of memory to do that anyway, so like, and already as my board as wide as it is, like I can just digivolve up into another Mega. So at this point it wouldn't be very impactful. Then he digivolves into another ultimate and puts me to 2. This, I believe, is one of the turns where Takumi Aiba's effect actually would have come into play, but it was forgotten. Draw a Chaosmon, pretty nice. I can just kill his Metal Greymon. Just put him even further behind to where it's like there's actually nothing he can do. So I swing a Victory Greymon just to make sure it survives. Cool beans. Swing with Patamon. I should have lost a memory and gone to 1. It does die and trigger Demi-Maramon's effect to draw 1, trash 1. And I go ahead and just dump Pillamon just to have something in there for Mastamon's effect if I do play her. And I swing with Armadillomon. I should have gone to 0 with this swing. It dies as well. Once again, his security is just full of Megas. So I Digivolve here for 6. It would have actually, and should have actually, put him to 6. And then I kill his Metal Greymon and then Pierce for another security check. Then I hit a 3000, I believe that's a champion. Yeah, it's Vegemon, or is that Weedmon? I can't tell, they look very similar to me. I think that's Weedmon. So he'd have 6 memory here as opposed to 4, if we had remembered Takumi Aiba's effect, but I don't think it really would have mattered. He has 1 security, I have 2 blockers out, and I have a Chaosmon. So he plays the Caramon. He probably doesn't have any targets in his deck for its effect, if I were to guess. But I'm pretty sure it is a mandatory effect. Most of those on-play searches are mandatory, so he has to activate the effect. And he digivolves into a champion. It does get to trash, I think, 2 sources underneath one of my Digimon. He picks the Castmon. Doesn't really matter. Then he draws an extra card from Takumi Aiba. So I swing security for 14,000, and then swing for game with Pitomon. So I do take game 2. Pretty handily. That was a pretty one-sided game once we got to the point where I was popping off and deleting all of his stuff every turn. So my opponent chooses to go first, which is pretty much the default for most people. Still, I realize that my opinion is not the norm, but I think he does brick, and he's giving me 8 memory, but my opinion obviously is not the norm. I'm in the minority with my choice to go second whenever given the option, but I think it's objectively just better. You get an extra memory, you get an extra card where you potentially you actually have a 5 to 10% less chance to brick with that extra card, depending on how many rookies you play. Like, in my opinion, it's a no-brainer, but I'm definitely in the minority there, and I know that. But that's good for me. People choose to go first. I get to go second, even if I don't get to choose. Seems like a pretty sweet deal. Him being forced to give me 8 memory is pretty bad. And I'm actually just kind of unsure of what to do with all this memory. I could just build a stack in my raising. I do have a champion and an ultimate in my hand. I haven't drawn a mega yet, but oh, there's Argomon. Now we've got a mega now. But I don't want to invest in just one stack if I've been given this much memory. I think it's kind of a waste. Then I play Waryumanzimon for 5, take advantage of that 5-drop ultimate. Very nice. And I have a Mastamon in my hand as well. See, I drew her quite a bit in this sealed event. I saw her probably... I saw her at least once a match, and I potentially may have seen her almost every game that I played. So I end up just playing a Pilloumon. I don't want to commit to a Mega this early. He does have removal in his deck, and also Argomon and Mastamon serve 2 different purposes, and I would prefer to react to whatever he's doing as opposed to try to be proactive with my Megas and their effects. He swings with Metal Greymon and does survive. That's pretty wild that he did that, because if he doesn't survive that, he's so far behind that, like, yeah, I definitely would not have risked swinging in with a 7k Digimon, but, you know, he's probably, based on his hand, he's probably just forced to do a play like that. Him giving me 2 memory, I could have actually crashed into that 11,000 DP Digimon with my Argomon, because I could have just Digivolved into it for 2 by suspending something, but that seems kind of like a waste to me. So my goal here is to drop Mastamon. I'm hoping if I swing with the Pilloumon, it will die, and then I can drop Mastamon and bring it back and trash one of each of our securities. And then I have a 12,000 DP Digimon on the field. Tis 11,000 DP Digimon, so if he swings again, I can just run it over the next turn if he doesn't put a blocker up. Unfortunately, we do survive the check. Big sad. I definitely wanted it to die to that check so I could bring it back. I always want to get max value off my Mastamon. And right here, I'm actually considering Digivolving into Argomon. Because I could swing for 3 checks for 11,000 DP. But that's not game. And he could definitely punish me because all my Digimon would be suspended. He could bare minimum crash with his Mega and then run over one of my other Digimon with what he has in his breeding area. So I go ahead and decide to swing. I'm hoping this one dies. It does, thankfully. So with it dying, I can get the Armadillomon back for free with the Mastamon. Dropping Mastamon feels a lot better when you're getting that free body back, so that's why I did that. So I Digivolve into Mastamon for 4, put him to 2. We both trash top card of our security. And then I get to play my Armadillomon back. And now I have a 12,000 DP Mega that if he swings with his Mega, I can just run it over on my turn. Or I could just kill him on my turn. He does have a blocker, but we'll see what he does with it. He swings security, activates that Digimon's effect, I can't really say it. Trashes the bottom security, gains a memory, and unfortunately does check the 1 of Chaosmon in my security and die, so I don't even have to run it over on my turn. He plays Takumi Aiba, and then Digivolves over his blocker. Probably not the best move since I have game on board if I don't check something that kills. Like if I don't check any destruction options, like I have game. Or like a Shademon, I guess. So I swing with Mastamon. Survive the 4K check. Swing with Armadillomon, lose a memory. Check Hell's Gate, it gets added to his hand. And then swing for game. So I do take it 2-1. I do come back after dropping the first game. Him checking the Chaosmon and Digivolving over the Pitomon ultimately didn't really matter because I was gonna, like, it basically just shortened the game by like 1 to 2 turns, but I don't really foresee him coming back in this game from the board set we were at, even if he survived, because I just would have ran it over. He could have potentially blocked, but I just would have ran it over the following turn, and like, yeah, there wasn't really much he could do. But I do appreciate you guys stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're interested in this kind of content and want to come back for more. But until next time, see ya.